Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you, that's right, another countdown video. That's right, everybody. We have 15 comics all together this week, no digital, all physical copies. And let's just say, like, out of all the 15 comics I read this week, nothing really blew me out of the water except obviously the number one title this week. But let's just go over the 15 books, shall we? And I'll tell you if there's any books that I'm actually dropping. So, with number 15, we're going to go with, unfortunately, it's Hawkeye, issue number 18. That's right, fans. This particular book has to do with another story of Kate Bishop. We saw this particular story that has to do with the detective that's always buying cat food or whatnot in this particular issue, and you get to see his story why he can't leave L.A. Now the artwork's not bad. I've dealt with the different artists on the book, but unfortunately now with the inconsistency of the title when it comes to going back and forth between Clint and Kate. I've just kind of come to the point where it doesn't interest me anymore. The book is not the same of what it used to be when it was first released. It's been delayed. Stories have dragged on for a very long time, especially on the Clint side. And I just find myself, while reading it now, I'm just kind of not excited to read it anymore. You get left with a great cliffhanger, and then in the last issue, you have Clint watching a story of a cartoon. And it's like, we need to read the story that's going on in the particular series. That's what made the series so good to begin with. Not, a story, then drag it out with a Kate issue, then tell another story. Oh, it's delayed. Here's another story. Oh, let's flip over the Kate. The inconsistencies is driving me crazy. And again, I'm just not having fun with the title like I used to. It is not the same book that it once was. So when I read this issue, I wasn't happy with it. I gave it a 2 out of 5. It's become way too serious, especially on this side of the coin when it comes to Kate. And yeah, 2 out of 5 for me. So moving forward, we're going to go on to episode number 14, and number 14 comes to Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 13. That's right, everybody. Yeah, this particular series, and it's been low on my countdown now since I think issue or part number 3. This specific series really for me has not accomplished anything in my opinion. You get to see a different side of Jean Grey, what happens to her and her psychic ability in this particular issue. However, when it comes down to it, now the artwork was done very well too. I really do love the artwork in the actual issue. Um, However, this was just another type of Marvel event that was just very lackluster. The first issue was fantastic, but with so much supporting cast, it was really hard for specific characters to shine. And this was the only time that a character actually shined in this particular issue, was right here when Jean Grey needed to shine. Now, there was some other moments here between Peter Quill and Kitty Pryde, which I thought was adorable between the two characters. But in the end, it was a very predictable ending of what was going to happen and where Scott Summers was going to end up, and that was with his father at the end of the particular issue. I would have loved to see something else out of this, especially when it came to Jean a little bit more. She gets left off the hook. Scott is the one that disappears, and we just move on with our merry way. What does this accomplish for Guardians of the Galaxy? What does this accomplish for the X-Men? Really didn't enjoy the event overall as a whole. This issue was pretty good, but again, the series itself was weak. So I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. This didn't need to be a 6-issue part between both books. So next we go on to number 13, and number 13 had to do with The Flash, issue number 29. Now this is the wrap-up off of the Keystone Killer thing. This series has been pretty dark as of late since we don't have our normal artist that's been on here. We have Augustin Padilla. So the art is heavy on inks. It seems like a very dark story that's going on, obviously, because it has to do with demons and possessions, and Deadman is all in this particular issue. And this is just basically has been a filler story until the new writer, which is Vendetti, is going to be taking over the series. We get to see what happens in this particular issue with the Keystone Killer, which is this creature right here, trying to kill the last of his bloodline. And then you see him try to take over the Flash, but in the end, the Flash winds up prevailing and gets rid of the creature in the House of Mystery because it just happened to be convenient that dead man pulled it out of his butt to get it there. So it was again an okay issue. A lot of books for me this week were in that okay frame of mind. Again, didn't blow me out of the water. This was a 3 out of 5. So moving on, we're going to go on to number 12. Number 12 was Real Heroes, done by Brian Hitch. This is a new issue by Image Comics, and this was a issue or a series that's based off of a whole bunch of actors that are at a world premiere movie. And you see that the movie is definitely one of the biggest movies out of all time. And it opens up nicely with great artwork here. And, the opening scene here had to do with 9/11, which was quite interesting. And it kind of grabbed me right from the start there. But then it kind of veered off and it goes into our main cast, like how they're all movie actors and actresses and how they play specific parts in a superhero movie, and a lot of them are familiar, like there's a Flash character, there's a Hawkeye character, there's a Captain America type of character or a Giant Man character. There's even a Tony Stark guy, which is this guy right here, which I thought was pretty neat. However, in this issue, there is lots of dialogue, lots of reading, and they try to cram so much down your throat or, while you're reading this to try to get all the introduction into the characters so you somewhat know them. And then it winds up spitting you out into where something horribly goes wrong at the premiere, where this giant robot, which is called Devastators or whatnot, take over Los Angeles, and our heroes wind up transporting or traveling to New York, and they're chosen to be the next heroes. Now, I would have loved for this issue to end right about here. Right here is where this creature broke through and our heroes don't know what to do. Instead, the issue goes along and it thrusts our heroes into the next mission, or into their mission of what they're going to be doing, which is protecting New York or taking care of New York or whatever that there is that they're going to have to do. Again, too much to read, too much to remember, too much character interaction right off the bat. Introduce the characters a little bit more slowly, introduce a villain at the end of it, and end it at a cliffhanger right there. I would have loved to see it so much more. So after getting done reading with this, it does have potential, but still, again, with so much to it, I give it a 3 out of 5. So next, moving forward, I think we're on number 11, and number 11 goes to George Romero's Empire of the Dead. And now this cover represents what goes on in this particular issue. We have a zombie by the name of Xavier, who was a former SWAT agent, is actually playing basketball in the particular issue, and you get to see that here. And I'm going to show you this because it's kind of wild. Yeah, look, zombies playing basketball. That's interesting. So our Dr. Penny, who is the main doctor in here, Penny Jones, which is this female right here, is continuing to do studies on the zombies, on what they can and can't do. On the other flip side of everything in this particular issue, we get to see the vampires trying to get away with not eating rat blood anymore. So they take innocent civilians and they wind up, eating them or sucking their blood as much as they can while they're still alive, so the vampires can wind up finishing, or not the vampires, the zombies can wind up finishing eating them. Our mayor is up for re-election, and yeah, I mean, this series is okay. I mean, it's interesting to see how the zombies work here, how they're smart, smarter than your average zombie like The Walking Dead. However, I do like to see a little bit more with this story, and also uh, the artwork. I think could be so much better with more detail. It just relies heavy on ink and shading to make it dark instead of that detail that is needed in the particular issue. Again, you get to see the corruption of the political system that goes on in this city, and we're finding out that you know we're slowly finding out that vampires are behind secret attacks and not just what they call the flesh eaters. So this series is okay. It's average still. I'm going to continue to read it. It's got 2 more issues left, and I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. All right, so next we're going to go on to number 10, and top 10 is Wonderland Clash of the Queens, issue number 2. Now, I didn't read number 1, but I didn't feel maybe it was too necessary to kind of find out what was going on. Seems like a very simple plot. This has the Age of Darkness banner on the bottom of it, so everything's going to tie together, I guess, eventually with this. And this is written by Raven Gregory and Joe Brusha. And again, writer is Raven Gregory here. The artwork is pretty cool. I like the artwork in this particular issue. All has to do with the clubs and the spades and all the different types of card groups, and they're looking for the ebony blade, which is supposedly this very strong weapon that that once you're in possession of this blade, you can be in control of all of Wonderland, and that's where this blade wound up ending up. And all the queens in this particular issue are sending out their particular people to go and search for this blade. Now, as the issue continues and progresses, we get to see our travelers come to this particular this castle or whatnot, and I guess this may where it may be or whatnot, and they come across this particular person right here, which is known as the Trickster, and it's like a Joker in the hand. It throws a wrench in all your plans, and that's what this particular female character is. Now, could she be going after the Ebony Blade? I'm sure she is, based off of this next cover that's right here. She's going after the Queen of Clubs. So interesting story. I'm going to continue to read this. I did enjoy it, and Zenoscope is writing some good tales right now. So I am going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so next we're going to go on to number 9, and number 9 is Forever Evil Argus, the conclusion, issue 6 of 6. This series has been quite all over the place for me. It started off really good, and then at the end, it's just kind of fizzled out. I think maybe the Forever Evil stuff has really, in my opinion, kind of gotten drawn out now. I think it's gone on way too long. I think we've been doing this since October, and we're going into April now, and I just think everything's been going on too long. But you get to see all the secrets of how long Argus has been going on, forever. And I guess we learn more about this Crimson group that's involved with everything, and how they are the main enemies or bad guys. We get to see Steve Trevor deal with his troubles there with the sisters, but what can I say? Dr. Light was all in this, and he was out of control, and in the end, I didn't feel like this was the greatest event. It was okay. There was times where it was really good, and other times I just didn't like it. Steve Trevor, holds his own in this book, but I think if he was to have his own solo series, it would get boring very fast. And you find out that this green room is not cracked out what it's supposed to be, and then you're going to get a conclusion within Justice League and Forever Evil. So it's still kind of continuing. It hasn't really concluded yet. So this was an okay issue. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Okay. So moving on, we're going to go on to number 8. And number 8 was Amazing X-Men issue number 5. Now, Amazing X-Men was what can I say? Um, Ed McGuinness's art is outstanding. I love the man's art. He was great in Nova. Um, and it continues here. Two-page spread is brilliant. Love seeing his artwork. It's just like I've said in the past when I love art, it's a visual treat. It's so enjoyable to look at while you're reading. This issue had a lot to do with Nightcrawler coming back to life. That's what happens in this issue, and doing battle against his father, and caring for the ones that he loves the most in the issue, and again, very predictable in the end. He's confronted with Professor Xavier. Xavier's telling him not to go, but Nightcrawler feels it's within himself to do the right thing, and he goes to the other side, and he's reunited with his friends. And yeah, that's what we got to expect. Is Nightcrawler is returned. I mean, this was very predictable. We knew that this was going to happen. He's getting his own series. We knew eventually how he was going to come alive. It was a little bit of a mystery, but he came through the portal, and that's it. So again, after all this, I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. My thing is with this is where's it going to go from here? How is this series going to evolve now that the initial Nightcrawler story is over and now that he's back? Where this series going to go from here and who's going to be our supporting cast here? So again, 3.5 out of 5 stars. So next we're going to go on to, I think we're on number 7. Let me just make sure. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7. Next is number 7, Scott Snyder's and Sean Murphy's The Wake, issue number 7. That's right, everybody. The best thing about this particular issue for me was the cover here. I really enjoy the cover of the dolphin going underwater, and you can see the water underneath, and you see the mermen there and here, and just the background. It just reminds me of a movie when I actually see this particular artwork here. In this series, we get to see all kinds of things that's going on. You get to see the soldiers here. I was actually a little bit lost in this particular issue in the beginning, but we see that Leeward gets captured with one of her friends on this big cruise ship that reminds me of Waterworld. If you guys ever seen Waterworld, which is the worst movie ever, they were on a boat and they were rowing it. Yeah, that happens here too. This is the same exact thing that goes on. And they're held prisoner, and they're supposedly there for so long based off of what Leeward actually heard on the radio, which is supposedly civilization or a way to end what's going on here. And just as she's about to get shot or killed or whatnot, we find out that our tanker or our cruise ship winds up getting attacked by one of the mer creatures, the giant creatures. This was a great page right here. Best page in the whole book, I thought. And we see that it's under attack, and Leeward is trying to escape, and she finds the device that disrupts all the mermen. And at the end of the issue, you wind up seeing like the big creature is going to eat her. And at that point, you're kind of like, whoa, what's going to happen here? And you find out that she goes in it, and it's a robot. It's not even really a creature. It's the specific captain that are in control of it. So it's like, whoa, what was that? That was a left, thrown in left field there. So really interesting how this ended up. The beginning kind of threw me for a loop. What happened there? I guess maybe this was her when she was younger. I'm not exactly sure. But I like the story that I provided, and I like the end. It kind of added something to it. Like, these guys were in disguise the whole time, so not sure. But something there that I enjoyed. It always leaves with a pretty good cliffhanger, this series. And I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Definitely a book that has totally turned upside down since the original issue, but it's still an interesting read. All right, so next we're going to go on to number 6. And number 6 is Silver Surfer issue number 1, written by Dan Slott. That's right, guys. This issue was quite interesting. If you're not a fan of the artwork, then you're not going to like this book. Here's the artwork. If you guys read iZombie before, you'll know the artist that is on the book, and just drawing a blank to my Michael Adlard. Sorry, my camera's messing up on me. But if you're not a fan of this artwork, you're not going to like this book, I don't think, visually by looking at it. But we get to see our sisters here. There's two sisters. One likes to travel. One likes to stay because she likes the view and whatnot. And it winds up being that it's a bed and breakfast that this place is particularly is. We get to see Silver Surfer back in the day when he was a herald to Galactus. He says some particular words in here. And then it goes back into the future, or to present day, where Silver Surfer's a good guy, and he's saving the planets, and he helps this microplanet and these people inside. The artwork is, like I said, it's not for everybody, but I don't know. It was fun. It was a fun read. I enjoyed it. I liked the two girls as the main characters in a particular issue. But we see that Silver Surfer is called upon to defend this particular planet, which is called the Impericon, which looks like this. I'm like, good lord, man, what is that thing? So I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, God, that is insane. So he's basically called upon to defend this particular planet, and for whatever reason, our female lead character is tied with Silver Surfer. So where this goes, I don't know, but it was interesting in a weird way, and I quite enjoyed it. So I'm giving this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars myself, and I will be picking up the next issue here. All right, so moving forward, we're going to go on to top 5. Number 5 is Red Lanterns issue number 29. That's right, fans. This book was better than the Supergirl book because you get to see Kara just, again, being used and abused and not being treated the way that she wants to. But the artwork fits this book a lot better, and it's drawn so much better as well. You get to see the interactions between Zilla Zox and Skalex here a lot, between why he likes Kara and why she should stay, how he thinks she shouldn't stay. And there were some great interactions here between Guy Gardner and Superman. And, you know, I'm not fond on the way Superman was drawn here. They made him like real puffy out here, and his interactions with Guy. But however, I kind of like how Guy was just like, yeah, you deal with her. And I was like, that's kind of funny. And, you know, Kara is acting a little bit childish in this particular issue. But, you know, Guy was trying to explain how the Red Lanterns work. Like if you take off the ring, you're going to die and whatnot. So really interesting how this issue turned out. I love some of the artwork that was in here. Superman, again, wasn't drawn the best. But in the end, I always find Red Lanterns an entertaining read, and I enjoyed it ever since the new team took over. And yet we're still yet to see what happens with Atrocitus in the series, and Bleez and Rancor. And by the time you get to the end of the issue, you do see Bleez, and she lands on the planet like this. Right away, Guy Gardner knows that it is Atrocitus that has returned. So in the end, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed this particular issue. All right, so moving forward, we're going to go on to number 4, and number 4 was The Walking Dead issue number... All right, so where was I? Yes, number 4. Number 4 was The Walking Dead issue number 124. Now this issue, we get to see what happened with Rick, and how he winds up getting shot in the last particular issue. And we see that here, the whole issue, they wind up spending trying to get back to the doctor's house to try to get him repaired so he doesn't get sick and then he doesn't die. We get to see some great character moments here between Eugene on him stepping up and trying to be maybe a little bit of a role model or a leader of the rebels that's going to go against Negan, which I thought was quite interesting. And excuse me. And also, after some quick battles and the hilltop being what's it called, being destroyed virtually, the doctor finds out that the weapons that Negan was using was tainted with the zombie guts. And let's just say that Rick and maybe some of his other people that were injured during this battle could be in for a rude awakening. And Negan waits in the shadows, basically waiting for them to give up and for Negan to take over again. So this was a fun issue. Last page was hysterical. Really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. All right, so next we're going to go on to our top 3. Top 3. Number 3. And number 3 was Revenge, issue number 2. Yeah, this book is quite sick. You know, does that make me sick? I hope not. If you can get past all of the sexual stuff and the gore, like the super gore and things like that, then you know what, the story's actually not bad. A little cheesy, but it's not bad. I mean, the art here, the detailed art is very good. I really enjoyed it. You know, there's all kinds of details in here to look at. The inks are done. The layouts are really nice. It's just visually, it's a book that I love to look at. Fantastic. The story continues in this particular issue with our movie star, whose name of Griffin Franks, who's been pretty much betrayed by his wife by removing his face off of him and putting it on her boyfriend so she can do this prenup so they can get divorced and she can have all his money. Because when Griffin Frank was younger, he actually dated the girl's actual mother, which is this girl right here. And he kind of broke her heart and she wound up dying. So she's the daughter of that mother and she wants to get back at him. Now, Griffin Frank's like 70-something years old. She's a pop porn star at 20-something and she wants to cause him all this pain. But she really doesn't want to be with this boyfriend that's wearing the face. She's just using him so she can be with her and they can go away and spend all the money together. So really interesting stuff. And now Griffin Frank winds up escaping out of this tank. He winds up killing people all in this way. He wants to go to the doctor's house so he can live a longer life. But in order to do that, they got to put some kind of face on him so he doesn't die of pain. And when he first got to the doctor's house, he wound up killing this dog that was a guard dog, and they wound up using this dog's face as his face. I was laughing, but it's funny. It's fun. It's a good story. Like the porn star, she like totally wants to destroy his life, and it's great to see what she's willing to do that. That's what I get out of it. So really fun stuff. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. So what was number 2 this week? Number 2 was Superior Spider-Man Team Up, and that was issue number 11. This was great. I really liked this issue, just for the fact being that you got to see, what's it called? You get to see Norman Osborn and Dr. Otto Octavius work together as friends, and you never realize that they actually wound up being friends. Now, at one point, they hated each other, but in due time, they got along with each other. They came up with plans, technology to destroy Spider-Man, and I love the artwork here because it's set back many years ago, and it fits the tone of the book. You see the way Dr. Otto Octavius is dressed. You get to see the way Spider-Man is. This just goes back in time. the way the characters were in that time frame. But you got to see how sick actually Norman Osborn really is in the particular series. He does things that are not normal, and it betrays his friend Otto Octavius, and they wind up getting in these fights. And in the end, we wind up finding out that when Dr. Otto Octavius and Norman were going to go into this great master plan to stop Spider-Man, it all fell through because Norman Osborn wound up practically killing his ex-fiancée, and Norman wanted Otto Octavius to experience the pain that Norman had when he lost his wife. Crazy stuff, but really well written. Great story here. I really enjoyed it. I'm giving this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So last but not least, number 1 on this week's countdown. It's a no-brainer, everybody. It's the Superior Spider-Man issue number 30. And this book was astronomical. I love this book. This is a story, a milestone issue for our friend, this Spider-Man, which I don't have to say superior anymore because Peter Parker is back. In this issue, you get to see a little bit of Spider-Man 2099, and you all know how I feel about the character, but you get to see him left behind. And you get to see Peter Parker back in the mindscape of Otto Octavius, and you find himself fighting his way through the mindscape. And he comes to the point where Peter Parker was dying, and when Otto Octavius inherited all the memories of Peter Parker. That's how Peter, in Otto Octavius' mind, wound up getting all his memories back and knowing everything that was true to him or his history or his past or whatnot. And the artwork here was awesome when it came to just showing all these cool pages, panels of all of Amazing's past life, which was so nice to see. And in the end, you get to see Peter Parker, Ghost Parker back, which was cool. And you see and realize that Otto Octavius has failed as being a superior Spider-Man, and he's giving his memories up to give Peter Parker's body or his mind back to Peter Parker's body. And Otto Octavius, is erasing his entire memory, including the one that was recently most important to him, which was Anna Maria, which I thought was very touching, that he was willing to sacrifice the one person that he truly loved at this time just so Peter could be Amazing Spider-Man again. And by the time you get to the end of the issue, you see him put on those blue and reds, and he just says, "It's my turn." Perfect issue. 5 stars by far. It's so great to see my man, Peter Parker, Amazing Spider-Man, back. And I can't wait for issue number 31, which is the conclusion to Superior Spider-Man. And then we get Amazing back in our hands once again. So, guys, there you have it. There's a countdown for the week. You've seen the worst. You've seen the best. And as always, guys, leave me your comments below what you thought was the best comic of the week. Leave me your thoughts on Leave me your comments on what you thought was the worst comic book of the week. And until the next comic book review, everyone, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. And I'll see you guys real soon. Take care, guys. Bye.